Return of the Mount Hua Sect. Chapter 232. What is with that one? Don't move! The one who moves is the culprit! What is he saying? Please understand, it isn't like you've only known us a day or two. Baek-chun sighed, looking at Chungmyeong. The sack that held the purple woodgrass lay on Chungmyeong's back. As soon as they returned to the palace, he grabbed onto the sack, saying he would protect it. So cute. Don't say that even as a joke. He'll start believing it's true. At Jogul's trembling words, Baek-chun laughed. Of course, Chungmyeong is amazing. But it isn't something I cannot understand. Just because they had done their task easier than they thought they would, it didn't make it any less important. Only with this herb could the soul vitality pill even be made in Mount Hua. Because of that herb was more precious than gold to Mount Hua. It was only natural that Chungmyeong's nerves weren't calming down. Since it's so important, I cannot leave it here for others to protect. We should get back to Mount Hua as soon as possible. Chungmyeong nodded his head. The elder's neck must have gotten longer by an inch. Baek-chun imagined the elders with an inch-long neck and shook his head. Right. This journey took longer than I thought. Who could have thought they would have to go through so much to get their hands on the herb? When he thought about it, Baek-chun felt like the time he had spent was too precious. He turned his head and looked at the other disciples. Are you ready to leave? There is nothing more left to prepare. We don't have any luggage. Right. He nodded quickly, then looking at Chungmyeong, he spoke in a slight voice. Then, without delay, let's greet the Beast Palace Lord and leave. Since he showed us a lot of favor, we need to properly greet him before we leave. Yeah, we should do that. Chungmyeong nodded his head. In his opinion, he wanted to leave right away, but they had to make a good relationship with the Beast Palace Lord. Because he has the purple woodgrass. Chungmyeong frowned. The more he thought, the smarter the Lord seemed to him. He gave them the herbs and then won the favor of Mount Hua. He even made a new growing field for the other half of the herbs in a new place. Of course, this was beneficial for Mount Hua too, since they had a lot of herbs in hand, and now there was the future possibility of having it supplied. At that time, Yoonjong and Jogul sneakily approached Chungmyeong. What? Don't approach me so recklessly. We won't take it, brat. We're people of Mount Hua too. Jogul screamed and felt shocked. Yoonjong opened his mouth with a serious expression. Chungmyeong, huh? I have something to talk to you about. Huh? Chungmyeong tilted his head, hearing the seriousness of this voice. Why do we have to do that? Chungmyeong glanced at Yoonjong seriously at that question, and Yoonjong spoke up in a calm manner. No, think about it. It isn't like we are blocking the trade to Yunnan, and we aren't preventing them from coming in. They themselves don't want to come into the Central Plains, so why do we have to convince them? There are many reasons. It's about the people starving again, isn't it? Sahyong. Yoonjong Sahyong. That isn't our duty or responsibility. No, I also feel that it's sad, but there are things you can do and things you cannot do. No, it isn't just because of that. Jogul, who was beside them, waved and said, If Sahyong was doing things only with compassion, I would have stopped him before he spoke to you. But when you think about it, it isn't so simple. At Jogul's words, Chungmyeong narrowed his eyes. Then? Money. Huh? Money. Jogul's eyes shone. As he heard the word money, Chungmyeong frowned, looking at the two. So, I will explain. But before Jogul spoke, Chungmyeong spoke. Since the food situation in Yunnan doesn't look good, if we can buy food and then sell it in exchange for Yunnan tea, money can be made, right? Of course, there will be a small amount of goods changed, but the supply will be absolutely insufficient. If we can acquire the trade rights to the tea of Yunnan, we can earn much more than the top 10 merchant groups of the Central Plains, can't we? And since Sahyong's family can handle it on our behalf, we can eat the hen and the egg. That's what you wanted to say, right? Jogul was wide-eyed. So you were thinking about it. Did you think I was stupid? Yes. What? No. Chongmyung smiled. I know what Sahyong is thinking, but you know one thing and don't know the other. For us, the important thing is not making money in Yunnan. We have to make sure to maintain a good relationship with the Beast Palace. I mean, we don't have to do things for the sake of others. Money? Surely it is important, but there are things more important than money in the world. Yunjong and Jogul looked at Chongmyung and gently exchanged glances. He normally goes crazy at the mention of making money. And Sahyong knew that too. Who knew this money demon would have a change of heart? Chongmyung looked at the two. So stop thinking of useless things and pack your bags. Yunjong groaned and lowered his head. Can't we just try it out and test our luck? Huh? Chongmyung looked at Yunjong, who didn't want to give up. Doesn't the Beast Palace Lord take care of you? He might listen to your words. Actually, the fact that the palace is blocking the trade here is because they don't like the Central Plains. Chongmyung frowned. Thinking about it, it wasn't wrong. After a moment's thought, he said, all right, let's test our luck. Right, I won't hope for anything more. Instead, Chongmyung smiled. There will be something Sahyong has to prepare. Huh? It isn't anything huge. Chongmyung smiled. Isn't it said that one's appearance makes it easier to negotiate? Anxiety struck the faces of Yunjong and Jogul. Baekchun looked at Chongmyung with blank eyes. Why? No. He started at his head and looked down to his toes. Why are you... What? Baekchun took a deep breath. Chongmyung was dressed in a blue uniform, and he held a fan made of pure white feathers in one hand. It was similar to the looks of Zhuge, but it was something of a poorer version. Chongmyung stood tall with a weird face. If you are going to negotiate in Yunnan, you need to dress like this. Baekchun, who was smiling with his bag on the back, frowned as he turned back. But as soon as he turned, he saw a couple of people. And how did you two end up like this? Yunjong and Jogul silently touched their wet eyes with their sleeves. The white feather fan in Chongmyung's hands had been made by these two. Chongmyung had demanded a robe for himself and asked for a fan to be made by them. The two of them, unable to get past their thoughts of Kunming, jumped into the jungle with bare feet and chased after a bird with long tail feathers. Thanks to that, they had been scratched in multiple places on their body due to the branches and other angry birds. That damn bastard! Even a dog won't bite him. Thanks to that, they succeeded in making the white feather fan in the nick of time. The result of those tears and worries was now in the hands of Chongmyung. As expected, history is bound to repeat itself. At this point, won't everyone just listen to me? Seeing Chongmyung smiling at his own words, Baekchun spoke to the others in a serious tone. Everyone, listen to me very carefully. Yes, Sasuk. When we get back to our place, this stays a secret. If the Juga family finds out we try to impersonate one of their members, they would come after us with swords. They will. The disciples all sighed as they heard Baekchun's words. Either way, Chongmyung was spreading his arms to the left and right, admiring the clothes he had. Then he coughed and said, Okay, now to the palace, Lord. It was then. Are you inside? Huh? Chongmyung opened the doors at the knock and heard something from outside. Our Lord is looking for the disciple Chongmyung. Eh? Chongmyung tilted his head. Why? I don't know the reason. He asked me to inform you to stop by when he had time. Is that so? Chongmyung nodded his head. He had to find out why the Lord wanted to meet him, so he thought that going right now would be better. Then I'll go. Don't worry, because I speak very well. I can probably go around making people believe that I'm Biga Cheongmyeong. I hope Biga Cheongmyeong freezes to death. Baekchun, with a stiff face, watched as Cheongmyeong began to walk away. Everyone. Yes, Sahyung. Take your bags. Huh? Keep the bags on you at all times so we can move quickly. Yes. Baekchun looked at Cheongmyeong with an anxious gaze. Please, don't create trouble, Cheongmyeong. Please. You are here already. Yes. Is there anything special going on? What can? But what is with that outfit? I placed a bit of effort in my appearance. Well, can there be a warrior dressed like this? Right? Cheongmyeong spread out his arms and sprinted ahead and sat in front of the Lord. I am here because you called for me. Yes, I had something to say, so I called for you. Yes, please speak. The palace lord looked at Cheongmyeong. It is a bit awkward to say it with my own mouth, but weren't the disciples of Mount Hua taken care of by the palace? Ah, you did. Thank you very much. This was sincere. Even if the Plum Blossom Sword Saint was a hero of Yunnan, it wasn't easy to have the same goodwill to the descendants of that man. So, Cheongmyeong had to thank the palace lord. However, the Beast Palace Lord opened his mouth with a troubled face. I don't mean to say this, but... Huh? Seeing his intense face and twisted body, Cheongmyeong frowned. I have a favor to ask. A favor? Yes. The Beast Palace Lord sighed and looked at Cheongmyeong. This is also the request that the Beast Palace is making to Mount Hua, and I, the Lord Mengso. Wait. Your name is Mengso? Yes. So as in small? The Lord nodded his head. I was so small that my father called me that. No. What happened for someone who is small to grow up this huge? Did he eat some kind of body-enhancing fruits? Anyway, the man continued to speak with a slightly embarrassed face. This is also the request from the Lord of the Beast Palace, Mengso, to disciple Cheongmyeong of Mount Hua. Cheongmyeong sat straight. If this was how he was speaking, then this had to be huge. A person who's done favors for them needed to be treated right. Please, tell me. Well, Mengso, who had been mumbling something, took a deep breath and said, I know it is a difficult request, but can't Mount Hua engage in trade with Yunnan? Huh? Trade? Sorry? The tea trade. Huh? I know that it is difficult. Hearing that, Cheongmyeong asked with a blank face, You want to trade tea? Yes. With Mount Hua? Yes. Cheongmyeong thought that the whole thing was absurd. No, what is with him? Isn't this something that I'm supposed to ask him? Why are things so twisted?